Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on the glorious implosion of woke leftist media houses in South Africa. And don't take my word for it, Media24 are themselves reporting on how they, eNCA and Independent Online have to retrench or face permanent closure. And the one thing that all three of them have in common is that they decided on woke leftist propaganda and to start being the news rather than reporting on the news. Ask yourself, why doesn't Business Tech, My Broadband, Newsday, Marula Media, why do none of them have this issue? But when you look at IOL, eNCA, and News24, it's quite obvious that their editors-in-chiefs are woke snowflakes, and ultimately this has now cost the journalists and the people in the administrative side having to now lose their jobs. And if you look at all three of these outlets, not a single one of the editor-in-chiefs or the senior editors are being held responsible for the collapse of each of these three media outlets. Now, before I show you the article, please be sure to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything, as well as smashing the like button and sharing this video. So let's have a look. Now, this article is proudly brought to you by News24. Anyway, look at the title. Anger at eNCA as more than half face retrenchment. Ooh, but why don't you speak about Media24? Why don't you mention that? Oh, but don't worry, you'll have to mention it in this article. But let's have a squiz, shall we? Broadcaster eNCA, which launched South Africa's first 24-hour news channel in 2008, may slash its staff by more than half as part of a digital pivot. The broadcaster, which is part of the JSE-listed eMedia Holdings, has embarked on a Section 189 process that could affect 179 out of 390 employees. That's more than 50%. So half the staff are going to lose their jobs because eNCA and eMedia Holdings decided to go woke. Nice. Report has obtained the Section 189 retrenchment letters that eNCA's managing directors Norman Munchelele sent to workers. In the letters, he blamed the planned retrenchments on a decline in traditional TV viewing patterns, particularly for 24-hour news. No. It's because you decided to go woke and because you decided to be the news and because you decided to label everything racist. That is what is the problem here. eNCA is currently only available on premium DSTV bouquets. Multi-choice, owned by Canal Plus, pays eMedia to make the eNCA TV news channel exclusive to DSTV. That's going to end probably soon as well. They go on and talk about the eNCA, but I actually want to focus a little bit on what is happening in News24. There we go. Let's focus on you guys for a bit, right? Media24, the owner of News24, is also in the process of consulting staff regarding new editorial structures for its media division. You're just trying to use fancy words to say, go woke, go broke. It had already been pivoting to two Euro online publications, News24 and Netwerk 24. Really? I would argue that News24 is actually what's to blame for Media24 as an organization declining. But all right, they're saying with employee numbers falling from 1,967 in 2024 to 1,194 as of 2026. Now, roughly make it 2,000. And if you minus the over 200 people that's going to lose their jobs in the latest round, potentially even a lot more, that is also more than 50% in 2 years that News24/Media24 is losing. This came amid, among other things, the sale of its logistics division, its community newspaper portfolio, as well as the closure of Sunday newspaper City Press. Media24 saw a loss of around 260 million in the year to end March. Stop lying, it's more than 300 million. It's 850,000 Rand a day. That's what it works out to. Media24 costs Naspers 850,000 Rand a day. And after Naspers has now seen that people don't believe the nonsense coming out of News24, that is when they started saying, oh, we will have to look at retrenching. So there you go. Oh, independent media, the people that had to apologize to me on 4 different breaches of the press code for that butchered article that led to me losing my job. Oh, should I shed some tears here? Meanwhile, Sekunjalu CEO Lucian Jacobs said last month that funding independent media's loss-making business was no longer commercially sustainable, adding that the group had sunk 1.8 billion rand directly into its operations. The Cape Times, the Star, and other publications are part of the independent group. After Sekunjalu repeatedly said that independent media could no longer rely on continued shareholding funding from the group, a company called National Media Group announced last week that it will continue publishing the titles. Convenient, considering that they are being taken to court for, I believe, 200 odd million rand that is being requested back from the initial funders. And now magically, Sekunjalu has now moved it to National Media Group. You know, this is just Iqbal Survey doing Iqbal Survey things, all right? Anyway, it said it received the licensing rights from Sagarmatha Technologies, which is ultimately controlled by Iqbal Survey's Sekunjalu Investment Holdings. Yeah, go figure. So like I said earlier, if you take a careful look at what these three media houses have in common, is the fact that their editors-in-chief and their senior editors decided to pick up the woke leftist flag and to fly it and call everything racist and do exposés on people on the center and the center right, labeling them far right. And the people have had enough. The people in this country have had enough of these media outlets creating news rather than just reporting on what is news. I mean, this is me reporting on the news from literally my office, and I am more profitable than Media 24. Not only more profitable, but I'm not costing a parent company 850 million rand a day. Now, what should possibly go wrong when you've got all the journalists, you've got the ad placing that people could advertise, you've got millions of people that were reading your online website? What could possibly go wrong? Well, you went woke. You decided to insult the people that actually read your website or your paper. You decided to turn against the very people that were funding you and paying your staff salaries. And when you want to try and lecture these people or treat them like idiots, because let's be real, that is what eNCA has been doing, that is what Media 24 has been doing, and that is definitely what IOL and Independent Online has been doing for the last at least 7 years. They've been treating their readers like toddlers, trying to spoon feed them information like, hey, you should know better, this is what you should know, this is how you should feel. And finally, people have just said, we've had enough. And we've reached that point now where these senior editors have cost their parent companies literal billions of rands. And instead of their heads rolling, they are the ones keeping their jobs, whilst the average journalist and the average admin staff member now has to face the consequences of the actions of the people right at the top. That is completely unfair. People like Adrian Basson, Iqbal Survey, Peter de Tooy, these are the individuals that should ultimately be held responsible for the failure of their media companies. And now the average Joe that has got no direct input in the direction of these companies, they are the ones that's going to lose their jobs. And it's really unfortunate, and I really do feel for every single person that's affected by this. Ultimately, it's reached that point where when you had the opportunity to say something, you said nothing, and now that times are tough, now it's too late to say something. You can't now complain about your editor-in-chief. You can't now complain about a senior editor. You didn't speak up when it mattered the most, and now, unfortunately, you are losing your job because of the woke leftists at the top that decided that this is the direction they're going to take this company in. And by the way, they are smiling at the top because they know they're still going to earn millions of rands while you are in the unemployment line. How does that make you feel? Because now you can kind of understand how I felt when IOL wrote that hit piece on me. So to every journalist in IOL that saw that was unfair and had nothing to say, welcome to the club, buddy. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. However, if you'd like to contribute financially, you can do so by clicking the $ sign below and choosing an amount. Or you can become a member of this channel by clicking the join button, and that'll be greatly appreciated. And that's all I gotta say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre.